Good morning, one and all present here. What a beautiful morning, though rather cold and enveloped in fog, still beautiful for us. I welcome each one of you to the first ever TEDx event being hosted by GDGoenkaWorldSchool. I would say it's a historic day for our school because this is the first time we are hosting a large event like this. Historic also for our nation today. The vaccination for the pandemic is being rolled out today. The pandemic, which has been looming large over the entire world like a scourge, one of the worst scourges in the human history. Now a vaccine is being launched here in India, and I think this is a very, very positive sign.
Where to draw the line? How do you know when you're obsessing over eating healthy? This is a commenter who asked this.
I think that's a great question because for me it started off with very normal balance key, like I won't eat the extra cheese or whatever, and then I just slid down. I think what's really important to remember is balance. Foods are not bad or good. It depends on your goal and to monitor your goal. You will know within when you're going extreme. You will know when you've lost instead of 5 kilos, 10 kilos. Internally, you will know. So keep checking in with yourself. Being healthy is amazing. It feels great. So there is, you should eat healthy, but sometimes it's okay to, eat that piece of chocolate. And what told me at that time was the way I started looking at that chocolate. I was like, oh my God, like if I eat that, like hell's going to break loose, So I think that's very important where the way you look at foods. And when you realize that's changing and you're really demonifying another piece of food, that's when you realize you're going into an extreme. And over-obsessing, right? Like for me, I was obsessed. I was like, if I don't wake up at 4 a.m. and if I'm not at the gym at 5:30, something's going to happen. I'm not in control of my day. So I would make sure that I don't go out. I would make sure that I tell everyone at home that, ki awaaz nahi karo. Right? So I was obsessed to such an extent. And then you start realizing it. People will also start pointing it out to you.
Do you think that your family plays a major part in your leadership personality?
I think absolutely. Your family, the way you've been brought up, the way you've been nurtured, the values that you have, and also your family plays a big part in the self-esteem and confidence that one develops. So from an early age, your family plays a vital role, your teachers play a vital role, your friends and peers, and people that you work with, your colleagues, everyone around you ends up playing a vital role in how you see yourself as well, right? So hence, it also makes a difference as to, how you're nurtured, how your family treats you, how you've been brought up. All of that is a culmination of the person that you become. So if you're empowered, you're pushed by them, you're really driven to achieve your goals or to see the world a certain way, you will end up becoming that person. Hence, that's why I recommend, when we speak to parents and, young students, that they must be positively motivated, and everything is not about, if you don't get these marks, then this will happen, or, negative consequences. Positive incentives are very important.
Ma'am, the question is, I sometimes lose hope when I face hardships, major ones and minor ones. How do I remember my goal, and how do I keep working towards it? Ma'am, I'm sure you have your fair share of hardships in your life. How did you get back up, and how did you still continue to fight?
I think the answer to this is just one line: to focus on what you have versus what you don't have. So there are lots of things in life I don't have, and I think people who are close to me, they'll know that as well. But I don't live my life thinking about them. I live my life thinking about what, the beautiful family that I have, the health, the business, the team, the fun that we have every day together. I try to focus on all that. And I think similarly for you, when you look in your life, there might be a lot of things close to you that you are taking for granted, that you don't even know that they are there around you. Like maybe it's just your husband and he's always there and you never appreciate him, or you never are grateful for having a very supportive family. But maybe you're having problem in business, so you are thinking that everything in life is falling falling apart. So my only advice to you would be to take a step back and look at the things you have, and then start appreciating them, start being grateful for them, so that is the energy you are sending out to the universe. And I think what comes back to you will probably be will help you in the areas that you're facing challenges as well.
Would a public declaration of the carbon footprint and the water consumption per, say, 100 grams of fabric, just like the nutritional information on food packaging, be another way to educate the public of their costly and damaging purchases?
If you are talking about a pair of jeans, for example, so 3,000 to 4,000 liters of water goes in a pair of jeans. Now, what is so, for everything, let's say context and metaphors are important, because if we simply say 4,000 liters, then we can't really comprehend how much is 4,000 liters or how much is 5,000 liters. But let's say a typical urban family in India, a family which has, let's say, 5 people. So a family like that would be using about, we can say ballpark 400 to 500 liters of water per day. This is where water is available. Now, so the math here is very simple. A family of 5 people using water for 10 days is equivalent to the amount of water that is typically used in one of our jeans that we buy. Now that's an awful lot of water. So I think there are many ways in which, in fact, I would also like to encourage you. I don't know if you do that in school, but if you can try and figure out what is the carbon footprint of each student. And I know that tools in India are not really so well developed compared to tools, let's say overseas or in other countries. But I think this is also one sort of conversation that we are having now. That can we look at these tools? Can we develop these tools? Can we become more aware about our own carbon footprint, and then really try and see what is my carbon footprint? What is the carbon footprint of my family? I think over a period of time, I think if this awareness and this awakening comes, amongst the younger people, then I think the ones who are slightly older will also get into this whole groove, into this mindset of thinking. And I feel that, the more people think about this, the more people are aware about this, the more people, act on this, positive change can take place.
According to you, how do you think the number of changes you've made in your career has affected you? Have you been able to change because you already have a positive attitude, or has the change led to a positive attitude in you?
Okay. Hi, it's just great to be here. Thank you. So to answer your question, I think, a lot of us generally have a false understanding of what being positive means. Well, it's definitely not having COVID-19, but jokes apart, it's also not saying, I hope I have a great day today. Oh, what a lovely day. It's not just that, right? Being positive means believing that while you are insignificant in this universe, you still matter. That's what being positive really means. It means that you matter, therefore you can make a difference to the world. However small that difference is, whether you think it's small or whether other people think it's small, your contribution really, really matters. And that's just the, I think that's just the crux of being positive, because it means that you believe in yourself. And I think, so I have always followed my heart, and I do what makes me happy. And, when you do something that makes you happy, you are positive, right? So I think it's a bit of both things that, making a change in your life makes you positive. Making a good change in your life, if it's something that makes you happy, then you are a positive person. And if if you look at your life positively and say that, hey, you know what, this change, I'm not making this change just for the sake of making a change, but it's something that I really, really care for, then you're going to make a positive change in your life. So it's, I think, good things.
Is India as enthusiastic about sports as you want it to be?
Well, it's getting there. It's definitely getting there. We were definitely not, I think the new government has managed to ensure that a lot of sports and athletics has been included now in their agenda. And that is really important, which was missing earlier. the Fit India movement. For the first time, we had a spokesperson being our sports minister. So all of that made a huge impact. And yes, I think India is now, gearing up more and more for fitness. I don't know if you saw a recent video whereby you do an X number of squats even at the railway station, and you can get a free ticket for your ride. Now that is impacting at grassroots level. That is impacting at making an impact at every at the lowest level possible. So that is amazing, and we need to incorporate that. So imagine having if the benefits of fitness result in your daily life, that's where the change is going to happen.
You suggested that companies are getting volatile with their increasing amount of data breaches and thus compromising our personal details. How do you think we're capable of protecting ourselves before the situation actually escalates to a level where we can't control it?
One should be aware of the breaches which are happening. Suppose I came to know there is an application recently breached and I was one of the consumers. So to my protection, the first thing as a good cyber hygiene point is to change my password and to protect my digital identity with a multi-factor authentication. So today you cannot stay only safe with the password. That is never going to help you, whether it's your email account, your social media account, your corporate account. You need multi-factor authentication. So like in your Googles and Yahoos and Facebook, you have a feature called two-factor authentication. You should always keep it enabled. There are some tools which I can recommend, which is like an open source tool called haveibeenpawned.com. So if I open this tool and I enter my email address, it will tell me whether I have been breached recently or not, and if my password is breached or not. If you look at Safari and Chrome, they have also started giving you this feature where they will let you know that you are using a password which has been breached. So please change your password. They give you an alert. So this is what has to be done. As for organization and companies, yes, it is high time. They should take their data privacy and security policy seriously, especially data security, because we are just consumers. We will have to consume applications. We can't stop using internet and mobile applications, but then we use application with a trust factor. And so now it is important for all the IT-enabled organizations to look at cybersecurity proactively rather than looking at with a reactive mode, that once something will happen, then we will see what cybersecurity has to be done. So, and for that, the engineers which are being trained in the computer science or the programming domain, they need to be schooled very well with cybersecurity. And cybersecurity should not be treated as a specialization branch, but it should be a part of every branch. So if I am a good programmer, I am developing a mobile app, I should have prior knowledge of cybersecurity so that when I develop an app, so that nobody can breach or find loopholes and vulnerabilities in that application.
You have talked about a lot of highs and lows in your life, like leaving the Kashmir Valley while starting your company. So in those times, how did you defend yourself against the doubt and adversity of that time?
I think the whole community at the time was going through stress, and the important thing, as I told you, I have been into spirituality right from the beginning. Our whole family, I've been born and brought up in a family which is a joint family, and we have all entire families are spiritually pretty strongly established. And I think that has really played a big role in terms of keeping the mind stable. Because otherwise, if you are suddenly, you have a lot of houses, we had multiple houses there, and we were staying in a very large house and with our shops and so many other things. And suddenly one day you have everything, and the next day you have nothing. You're absolutely on the road. And starting there, because it's a big jerk and big transition. If one is not spiritually established, and I think that has come to us, to our grandfather. If one is not spiritually pretty established, it becomes a very, very difficult thing to stand up yourself. And my father and my grandfather always taught me that hard work is key to success. So we can rebuild ourselves, everything, if you are very focused on working hard. And I definitely think that spirituality has to play a big role on it to keep ourselves stable, because otherwise almost 80% of the Kashmiri migrants at the time, they went into a lot of depression. We had the maximum depression patients during that time, and it took almost a decade for many people to come out of the depression. So I give most of the majority of the credit to my grandfather's spiritual teachings and getting us aligned in that positive sense, that it helped us to kind of take it in a positive spirit rather than negative spirit.
Like, what actions do you think we as students can take in order to contribute towards overcoming the patriarchal setting and intersectional discrimination in rural areas? It's very prevalent there.
Yes, absolutely. That's an amazing question as well. As we realize that we're students and we already, again, as I've graduated from TEDxYouth I realized that I'm at a privilege in life where I've studied in an international school, and most girls in India struggle to even go to school, right? So I think the best way for that, again, is to have initiatives that empower those people in rural settings, empower marginalized sections in rural settings. A few of my friends in London have started this amazing organization called Refugee for Women Initiative. So instead of projecting themselves as, the voices for refugees, they just work with refugees directly and make them share their stories and make them create products that can be shared with the corporate world and just make life better for everyone, right? So I think the best way for us as students is to, first of all, again, realize our privileges. Second of all, try to empower the voices that we can through student-led initiatives. Another good example of that would be for GD Goenka World MU in 2019. We had a committee just for students from government schools because they'd been denied access to these activities due to just the norms of, we don't have sophisticated electronics or we don't have Western wear. We made a committee for them and said, come as you are, say what you want to say. And something as simple as that can make them happy, can make them feel better. And even in 2020, they've sponsored kids within the MUN community and for the conference this year as well, who could not afford to attend the conference. So just small steps like this that you keep incorporating into whatever initiatives you're taking will ensure that you're doing something in the right direction.